This is a quick video review of this outlet tap or outlet expander, model number WSS-606-3U, which is actually manufactured by a Chinese brand called Wontravel. Long story short, it does not have good safety certifications from UL themselves or ETL or TUV, but when they say it conforms to UL standards, and is this generally safely made? It actually is. So quick specs on the back, takes 15 amps of current, USB ports, not great that they have to do some odd power sharing and that they all can't run at full charge. Got 6 outlets, surge protector LED, the USB chargers, and to get in there are 6 screws with a triangular head, then you pry around the gap with something thin, like this metal spudger. Once inside, there are 2 circuit boards, one for the USB charger and a big one for the outlet taps. PCBs got relatively thick traces. I can only assume that it can handle the current. For surge protection, we have 2 metal oxide varistors, an LED that actually is a bit functional, because if the varistors blow, then the LED will not illuminate. There also is a very simple fuse, which is this squiggly line below the lower varistor. So if too much current goes through that, that would blow. That would protect the varistors, but would mean that I assume they can't really do much more protection. Interestingly, every single component inside actually has Wontravel printed on it, which is somewhat impressive and shows that Wontravel probably manufactures all this in-house, or with a very close manufacturing partner who's making it exclusively for them. There's a bit of odd glue or oil at the bottom, which isn't the best, but there's worse sins. The USB power board, also Wontravel branded, has a very impressive spark gap. So down here is the AC power, up here is the DC power, and there is a large gap, so if there was a power surge that wasn't suppressed, it would be hard for the power to jump across the gap and have a surge go into your phone or battery bank and damage it or make its battery explode, which is very nice. The circuit's not super sophisticated, but it's not super dumb. 2 capacitors, basic transformer, multiple outputs, some pretty sloppy glue application, but it's enough. That capacitor could have used some of the glue, but again, I've seen worse. Got our main control IC here, which I assume does some rectification. Assume that's a MOSFET over there. I assume that's the 5-volt control IC. And the USB-C actually has its own daughter board with a specialized chip that is specifically designed to handle USB power delivery at up to 5 volts, 3 amps. So it will actually be capable of doing kind of fast charging. I am not sure what would happen if you tried to fast charge off of 2 ports at once, because that would exceed the 5 volt, 3 amp limit. I assume it would just freak out and shut down. So what it means is, unless you're sure you're plugging in very slow charging devices, just use 1 port at a time. That's not great design, but I can assume it will fail safely. And overall, this seems to be relatively acceptable. If you're truly desperate for an outlet tap, and you don't want to buy a name brand one, which you really should for stuff that handles AC power, then you can go ahead and buy this. One other thing to note is that even though this has a pretty good capacity of 15 amps, which when you multiply by 125 volts equals 1875 watts, you still need to be careful, because a large air conditioner, space heater, hair dryer, or a really big audio system could draw more power than that. And there's no safety fuse in here. The surge protector doesn't protect you from this thing. So if that were to happen, then this circuit board could start melting. If you were very unlucky, it might catch fire. Or it could, if you're very unlucky, short onto itself, especially if somehow this high side were able to short against the ground or neutral. that could be bad. So, like any power strip, don't plug in too much. Know how many watts or amps your electronics are drawing. But otherwise, I am pleasantly surprised to see this is safe to use.